Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, high performance coaching. Look, I get it. It's a struggle. Sometimes burnout happens and you got to keep going. That's what this episode's all about. So let's get this one started. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
Look, a business can give you everything you want in life. Prestige, wealth, freedom. It can also take everything away from you. This show is for those who are willing to take that risk. These are the real life stories of entrepreneurs. But before we start, I have one small favor to ask. Please leave a comment. It can be advice, critiques, tips, feedback, or share this with someone because your engagement is the most valuable and most powerful form of social currency. So thank you, and welcome to another episode of Business Buzz!
You ready to supercharge your personal growth and success? Join us in this episode as we delve into the world of high-performance coaching with an expert who's passionate about helping individuals achieve their goals and thrive with a proven track record of guiding people towards greater performance and life satisfaction. Our guest has transformed lives through powerful coaching strategies. Get ready to learn how to overcome obstacles, adopt a growth mindset, and unleash your full potential. So stay tuned for an inspiring conversation that could redefine your journey towards success. Let's welcome to the show the one and only Mr. Joey Young. Joey, it's time to party, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be here. Hey, I got to say, that was so inspiring. When we first connected, the first thing that was communicated to me was your energy and the life that you bring to every single conversation. So I'm excited about just keeping up with you today, man. So let's jump right in.
Let's do this, man. That's what it's all about, man. I don't know. It's like I told you before the show, it's a fun gig. I'm also in front of like a bunch of high school kids. So if I don't have enough energy, it's going to be hard to compete with them because they got all kinds of energy for days. So let's do this thing, man. High performance coaching. Everybody starts off somewhere, and whether you're a phenomenal athlete or you're just getting started, coaching is one of those things that can help take you to that next level. What's your journey? What's your story? How'd you get into performance coaching?
Yeah, so I actually started out 10 years ago by watching a video on YouTube. It was actually a YouTube ad. So I guess I owe a lot of my professional life to a YouTube ad, which is kind of cool because I love YouTube as a medium. I saw a video called How to Be Beautiful by Brendon Burchard. And this guy, everybody knows Brendon if you're in the coaching space. He's one of the top life coaches in the entire world. And he just delivered this beautiful vision of what it could be to be able to live in this world as a beautiful human being, doing what you love to do, helping who you want to help, really being of service. And I was so inspired. So 10 years go by and I really wasn't in that mindset that I wanted to be in, where I thought I could do what he was doing, the coaching, the helping people in a way that was really beautiful in my mind. And I was getting married soon. So, things were kind of shifting in my life. It was a new season. And at that point, we had this goal for me and my wife. We wanted to be debt-free going into our marriage. And so I was kind of rolling on this side, thought of maybe becoming a coach one day. I was kind of focused on getting married, but I was really drilling down into okay, I got to pay off the debt because this is our goal as a married couple going to our, marriage debt-free. Hallelujah. If anybody else has student loans, I was right there with you.
I wasn't aware that was something a person could do.
Exactly. Who has student debt these days?
Everybody pretty much.
So we, one day, about 3 months before we got married, we wrote the last check. We paid off all the debt. And it blew my mind because all of a sudden I had accomplished something that was so hard and such a big mountain for so long. And I did it. And it really blew the lid off of my belief in what I could do as a human being. And so that catapulted me to a new level of thinking, which then made me have new thoughts hey, maybe I can go into this coaching business and do what I love to do, which is create mindset breakthroughs, help people to perform at a higher capacity at their job, help them to love what they do more. And so I dived into research and I took online courses. I hired a coach of my own. I started getting, experience just for free, helping friends getting, better in their career and better in their life. And a year later, I had a handful of coaching clients and I doubled my monthly income. and it was wild, man. It was so much fun. I kept doing it, and here we are 3 years later.
Dude, that's a heck of a story. Like, just first of all, to be able to get married and be debt free, that's huge in and of itself. But really, for me, I think the main part of that story is you did something you didn't think you were capable of doing, and that is a story that gets played out most of the time not the way that yours comes out. A lot of times we put these barriers up ourselves that prevent us from going forward in whatever it is you're going to do. I'm at a high school. I teach math class, right? And so I have seniors, but I have a couple freshman classes. And in the freshman class, anytime they see a problem that they don't know the answer to, I get a lot of them that quit, that don't even give it a shot, that don't even realize that right at the point where you don't know something, that's at the very pinnacle, the top, right before you actually learn it. Like, that's where you have to get to push on to that next spot. But we have imposter syndrome, we have limiting beliefs, all those things that stop us.
Right.
But when you experience wins like you had, right? When you experience that I did it moment, even if it's a small win or a big win, it gives you something, it gives you some fuel to kind of push through that. When you help clients and they're putting up these obstacles in front of themselves and these barriers, how do you help them get some of these small wins to push through those?
Dude, I love that, because it's exactly the issue that I face all the time. Everyone wants to know, like, the 3x my productivity in 3 days, or the, like, how do I double my, income and get the promotion that I want at work? And those are all fun. We like to think about achievement and success in those realms. But what I found is a lot of people need to start with their identity and just who they are. I had a recent client who is actually a teacher as well. And she's working through a lot of struggles around her feelings towards her competence as a teacher, right? So she's a good teacher. She's gotten awards. She's gotten parties thrown in her name. I mean, she was teacher of the year. She's a great teacher. But we're talking about how insecure she is in front of her principal, who gives her feedback about how her performance is during a lesson that she's teaching. We're talking about how she has had so much experience and so many accolades, but still can't respect herself as a professional. And so what we're working through right now is exactly what we're talking about. I'm telling her, hey, you're a great teacher. All you need to do is realize that you have so much to give. You have so many beautiful gifts that you have absorbed through your experience, and you can just, give to your students. Not everybody's going to love you, and that's okay. We don't have to be liked by everybody, but we need to know that we're doing better than we think. And so what we're working through right now is just the shift in the belief that, hey, even though not everybody loves you, you're still doing a great job. And if you could just harness that confidence, it would really come back around in the competence side of things, and you would just be killing it in your teaching. And so that's what the journey we're going on right now. It's not a tactical conversation. It's a belief and emotional conversation.
You mentioned that you had this realization that anything is possible, and it was kind of that game changer moment for you. How do you help clients kind of adopt the same mindset? I mean, you literally were talking about building that confidence, but how do you help them get there to overcome those things? What are some of those things? I mean, it's one thing to tell a kid, like when they're struggling, I'm like, you can do this, you got this, give it a shot. But somehow you got to get them to take an action themselves, whether it's an action that might lead towards failure or an action that helps get that little win. How do you get them to move into action rather than just kind of taking the fluff in and the compliment in and not really believing in themselves to actually build that confidence?
Yeah, honestly, there's so much magic that happens in a one-to-one coaching session. I think a lot of the magic is there because you're talking about encouragement and saying, like, you got this. And, like, we can all Google a YouTube video and get that, right? But when someone's sitting across the table from you or across the Zoom call, and it's just you and them, and you're looking them in the eye and you're saying, listen, I think you're awesome. I really think you have what it takes. And I'm not BSing you right now. I've seen you do this. I've heard about you say you did that. And I know you got this. You got this.
The
tone is shifted from like, this is hype, and this is like, you can do this, which is great. I listen to awesome music in the morning while I go on the run, by the way, like pump up stuff. Horrible music for the rest of the day, but it gets me jazzed. All the cheesy like motivation stuff. But when it comes down to it, when it actually comes to shifting beliefs, we got to lock people in the eye, and we got to give them the encouragement that they don't have inside of them. And that's the part of the 3-step process that I work in. So, that's the alignment piece, which is only the first piece, but there's plenty more to high performance as well.
I know I have some habits that I've built into my life over time. Some of them that even the wife laughs at me sometimes. One of them is journaling, for example. Like, she knows that right before I get to bed, like I go and sit down and I journal my stuff. And she kind of picks on me. There's this TikTok guy that you see him just writing, and then it's kind of a voiceover, and it's like, "Dear Diary," and like he's writing stuff, right? So she kind of picks on me in that. But it's a habit that literally, for me, I really, really write about 4 things. And these are the 4 core values that I've had for this year. And I'll break the page up into 4 sections. And it's just me evaluating, what did I do today to work towards one of those 4 things in my life? And sometimes it's like, I didn't do anything. Sometimes it's like, dude, I rocked this today. Like, and it's just a habit of getting whatever's in my mind out on paper so I can kind of assess where I did for the day. What do I want to conquer tomorrow? And then I close it and I go to sleep, man. And to be honest, it's one of those habits that has really helped propel me, because I'm literally thinking about what I'm doing every single day. I'm assessing what I'm doing every single day, and I'm planning for the next day every single day. It's a habit that's helped me out. When you're sitting with clients, what are some of the habits that you help them kind of put in place to get that mind right?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing that I run into in terms of a mindset is people think that they have to do something a certain way. So if they're like trying to accomplish a goal, they have something in mind that they want, they have this framework in their head about how it has to be done based on someone said it sometime, or they read it on like the Wall Street Journal while they were scrolling through their phone on the toilet one day. And they just like grasp onto this strategy or this goal that they want for themselves, or a way to get to that goal. And they think that that is the only way. And so they're like, okay, I gotta do it this way. And so a lot of the process that I'm helping people with is unraveling a lot of those beliefs that like, okay, if I want to achieve X, then it has to look exactly like this. And it has to work exactly like that. Because a lot of people I'm meeting with have been working towards their goals for a while, and they've been trying things. They've been working hard. These people are hustling, but they're not getting progress, and they're frustrated. And so what I always talk to them about is like, listen, what presuppositions do you have about what you're trying to achieve? Are you trying to be X, Y, and Z person when really what you're good at is this, and what you love doing is this? Let's talk about that. Let's cut out this part of what you're trying to do to accomplish this goal. Let's exnate it. Let's give it the, old off the plank, because it's not helping you, man. It's just creating frustration. And so that's what we do a lot. And then there's more specific habits that I would get into once we kind of get past the like, all right, let's get the chopping block going. A lot of people have struggle with prioritization. And that's because we hate saying no. People hate saying no to things that sound fun, to things that are great opportunities, but really are more work than they are benefit. So a lot of what we work with is like, all right, if we could only do one thing because our capacity is limited, what would that be? And how do we make sure that gets done first before number 2 and number 3 and number 4? Not that we can't have all these great things, but we got to make sure that the first thing gets done, because heck, if that doesn't get done, we're not making any progress. And there's a lot of frantic action these days. I think we could all agree we're all busy. One thing that I see people struggling with is they have this lack of consolidation of discretionary time. So if you have certain blocks of time throughout your day, you can get something done. It's not helpful if those are only 15, only 30 minutes, even 45-minute blocks of time. But one thing that we can do working together is help people to recognize when they're at their best, and then rearranging things on their schedule so that we can create the longest blocks of time when they're at their best to do that deep work that they need to do to move towards their goals. Because that's way more effective than having 15 minutes here to work on your big goal, 30 minutes after work, 2 hours after dinner, and you're exhausted and you can't even read your computer screen. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of little things like that we can implement to just create a little bit more efficiency once we know the direction we're going.
We're all a little crazy. I feel like we're all a little insane. It's funny. I listen into conversations with my high schoolers, and once in a while they're talking about relationships. I'm like, look, the key to having a successful relationship is to first understand that we're all crazy, and you just need to find that other person who tolerates the same kind of crazy that you are. And then, vice versa. You can tolerate their crazy, they can tolerate your crazy, and it works. But honestly, it's because we're our biggest critics. What we say, the dialogue that we have in our own head, is worse than what anybody would ever say to us in our face at any time. Like, the voice in our head is the biggest critic for us. And oftentimes we even distract ourselves from what our reality actually is. I had a mentor tell me it was one of those life lessons where he was like, hey, how long have you been in business? And you're like, 5 years. He's like, well, let me ask you a question. He's like, have you been in business for 5 years, or have you just been stuck repeating the same year of business over and over again for the last 5 times?
That's a great
question.
And
that was, to me, like that's huge, because that's the thing I'm telling myself in my head is, oh, I've been in business for 5 years. No, you haven't been progressing and growing. You haven't been moving forward. You've been just telling yourself one thing to kind of get through the day. But this is why you have a lot of people who burn out, who get overwhelmed, who end up quitting on their dream because they're not allowing themselves to do that work that you were describing to get their mind right and focus on that one thing that's going to take them to the next step, that one thing to take them to that next level, so they're able to do that. What do you think, man? Are we all a little crazy?
Dude, if we were, then where's the spice, right? There's this phrase that I heard a lot thrown around. It was called the COVID malaise. I don't know if you've heard it. It's like during COVID, when everything shut down in 2020, this new malaise just set on the land where everyone kind of slowed down, stopped moving forward towards their goals. It was very much a like, protect what we have and hide sort of mindset, hunker down, for the winter, hibernation style. And that hit one of my clients really hard during that time. She had a goal. She was actually going for a professional certification in New York State, but it was taking her a lot longer than she wanted to. She was stuck in this pattern in her mind of not achieving this. And so what we worked on was something called the North Star exercise, where I have this exercise where you choose 3 to 5 words that specify who you want to show up as every day. That's the general summary of the exercise. So you pick these words that represent the best version of yourself, and you put it in front of you every day. And this client's name, by the way, is Molly. I think there's a testimonial with more of her story if you want to see it on the website. But she took these words we picked out in the North Star exercise. She put it on her wall right next to her desk every day. So she would be reminded every single day of who the best version of herself was. And slowly, as we got together and coached, and she looked at those words and she actually raised her standards to the highest version of herself, she got to the point where she was feeling like she could accomplish this goal that had been kind of cycling for months and months as COVID dragged on. And now she's got a professional certification, and it was just so exciting to see her succeed. But I think more than anything, her developing that identity of who she wanted to be and having that front of mind each day helped her to become someone who continually progressed and stopped that cycle of going around the same wormhole every single day.
I love case studies. Honestly, it's one of the reasons why I do what I do, because every once in a while you get that callback from my students who grow up a little bit, and they're like, hey, I remember you talked about this. Guess what? I started this business. Or guess what? I'm doing this. I landed my first big client. Like, those are the greatest stories and the biggest joys that I have in my own life. Because at the time, you got to remember, I got 17-year-old kids here. For the most part, the stuff that we're going over, whether it's marketing, advertising, finance, whatever it is, it's not super relevant yet to them until the next 6 months after they graduate. Then they're like, damn, I wish I would have paid attention to that one in class, right? That's the big hurdle that I got to overcome. But the joy that comes from exposing them to those types of things, to me, is huge. And I want to make sure that I give you the opportunity to get that out as well. So if you could put it as simply as you can, what is it that you're selling? What are you here to promote?
Yeah, man. At the core of it, I love helping people to move towards doing things that they love. And when it comes to high performance, there's 3 phases of it. There's alignment, there's energy, and progress. And I won't go into depth, but essentially helping people find alignment with who they are and what they're doing, Energy is making sure they have the raw horsepower to do what they need to do. So that's nutrition, that's exercise, all that. And then progress, that's the tactical, like weekly super cycle method, week planning tactics that we do together. And through the stages of alignment, energy, and progress, we can create some incredible results. So what I focus on specifically as a coach is I help young leaders. I help young leaders who are stepping into a new role. Maybe you're stepping into a leadership of a team that you've never led before. Maybe you're stepping into the leadership role over yourself that you've never had before. If you're sitting here and you're like, hey, I'm 17. I've never heard of leading myself before. And that's an interesting concept to me. That's what coaching does. That helps you to take ownership of what you are responsible for and maximize it, so that's me and a coach and what I do. And I love doing that with young leaders, but I only help young leaders manage their responsibilities and handle the overwhelm and help them create focus and performance. What Thrive Hub is my version of, all right, I don't have everything. I don't have all the answers. What if I got a couple of other coaches together with different backgrounds, different specialties, and we said, okay, let's make sure we have a personality and a skill set for any client who comes in the front door. So now we got Bruce, and now we got a financial coach over here. We've even got a coach who just joined recently. He helps people who are going through medical events, and he's had years of experience coaching families and patients who are experiencing cancer or a big debilitating disease that's taken a while to resolve itself, and he can help them and coach them through that process so they don't just get cured by the doctor, but they get healed. And it's really, really cool. So Thrive Hub is basically the one-stop shop for a quality coach that can help you achieve your goals. We help all sorts of people, and it's just a great place to start looking. If you're like, hey, I have a goal, I want something I want to achieve, why don't I make sure that Thrive Hub doesn't have a coach on there first before I look somewhere else?
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, to have those different type of personalities, because I honestly believe that everybody should have a coach. Everybody should have a mentor that they're either working with or whether it's a one-on-one or one-to-many, but to have somebody that you can ask questions to have leadership because it's something that they've already done that you want to achieve as well. But when you're kind of figuring out who that coach is going to be, your personalities kind of have to jive as well, right? There's got to be some sort of connection there, and you're literally giving people an opportunity to have multiple coaches there to kind of figure out what aspect of their life they kind of need help with the most. And that's one of those amazing feats. If people want to reach out to you and work with you, maybe get to know, maybe see if they jive with you personally, how can they do that?
Man, the good old social medias is a great place to start. I'm on Instagram and on YouTube, so you can check out some of my trainings there. That's a great place. You can also just shoot me an email if you want to be old-fashioned. Just shoot me an email and let's set up a discovery call and let's see how I can help you to manage this next season of life. You're stepping out, you're doing new things, you're taking leadership of yourself, you have goals. Let's talk about that. There's ways you can achieve those faster. And if you want to be someone who is looked up to by others as a role model, which is one of the things that I aspire to, I want to be a role model with my life. I don't want to just lead myself well. I want my wife to see me as someone to mirror. I want my son, who's 9 months old, little Maverick, I want him to grow up thinking of me as a role model he wants to emulate. If you want that life as well, let's do the journey together.
Whoa, wait a minute. You named your kid Maverick? That is super cool, dude.
Oh, dude, I don't know if this is okay, but you have to sit through an obligatory photo of my son because he's 9 months old and he is just way too cute. Okay, so this is little Maverick. This is him the other day in his new little Ferrari that we bought him. No big deal, sweet 16, sweet 9 months, something like that. But
whatever, man.
Yeah, I love him.
I did the same thing, dude. As a parent, like growing up, I wanted a Power Wheel. My parents couldn't afford a Power Wheel when I was a kid. So when my kids got older, that was like one of the first things they got. They couldn't even drive it. They had it, right? That was just the way it is. All right, Maverick, it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look, coaching is something that you definitely need, and Joey's here to help you guys out. Joey Young is his social. Make sure you guys go out there, give him a follow, give him an interview. Just sit down and have a conversation with him. The people that you connect with the most that are doing what you want to get done are the people that you're going to want to have as a coach. So you guys can go to his social at Joey H. Young, or scrolling across the bottom, you got his website, jointhrivehub.com, and find out. There are plenty of different coaches with different expertises there to help you out. Joey, thank you very much for coming on the program today, man. Any last words you'd give to high school seniors who are about to enter the world? Maybe they're struggling with things right now in their mind, in their life, the issues that they're going through. Words of wisdom, my friend.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. This was so much fun. 3 things I would leave you with. If you want to level up, you want to be a role model, you want to start leading yourself. Number 1, you got to download my free training. It's called the Weekly Supercycle Method. And you can find that at jointhrivehub.com. It's a free training. It's got a worksheet, video, everything. It helps you to plan your week. And it's going to be really helpful for you as you hit the real world, okay? And people start expecting things from you and no one's going to remind you. You got to schedule out your work. You got to make sure that you're doing a good job leading yourself. So the Weekly Supercycle Method, that's on my website. You can grab that for free. Second thing I would recommend, read a book. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker. Man, this book will teach you step by step how to lead yourself and how to lead any other person you might lead in the future in terms of if they're on your team, whether you're a colleague or maybe even your family. Awesome book, The Effective Executive. And number 3, text someone this week who you want to be your mentor. We don't ask for help enough these days, and that's why you're struggling. That's why I'm struggling. That's why anyone's struggling. We don't ask somebody to go out for a coffee and say, hey, can you answer a few questions? Can I ask for help with something? Can we just talk through it? You wouldn't believe the types of conversations that we sparked when you just give yourself a humble text to someone you respect and ask for help. It can be really, really incredible.
And you'll be impressed how many times people say yes to that sort of ask. All right, I got one final question, and it is a testimonial question. Everything from when you heard about us to when you booked to be on the show, you've gotten emails and text messages from us, and then you actually sat down and recorded an episode with us. What was your experience like on the Business Bros?
It was a lot of fun, man. No one can say that they'll ever forget about you because you're in my inboxes, you're under my inboxes, you're around my inbox. I don't even know. Like, you probably got a letter in my mailbox right now. So it's been awesome, and I just want to say thanks so much again for having me on.
Appreciate it, Joey. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, his social is at Joey H. Young. Make sure you guys give him a follow and check out the website. If you definitely need a coach, there's a bunch of different opportunities for you to get that there. And he's got a giveaway. It was the Super Cycle Method, right?
That's right.
To schedule your week. So make sure you guys check that out. It's a free giveaway and get the information you need to start scheduling yourself on a regular basis with habits that'll get you to success. So thank you very much, Joey, for being on the show today.
Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. And we're out.
It's over. Go home. Is your business in need of marketing? Try starting a podcast. But not just any podcast. Podcast like a pro. We can show you how to take your business from being invisible to becoming a brand people trust. Go to www.businessbros.biz